I'm normally not the one who does the movie reviews on this channel, but I'm making this because I'm mad, and I'm not mad because this was a bad movie. It wasn't a bad movie. It was an average, okay movie. I'm making this because it could have been a whole lot better. I'm Caleb Griffin from Next Topic Media, and you've probably seen me on Spidey News or Two Nerds on a Boat, but I'm going to be doing a movie review today. And this is something that normally Caleb and Daniel do on the Peach Crisp show. I'm not going to be using their scale or anything today. I'm just talking about this movie because I'm very mad walking out of the theater, and I have to talk about it because I feel like I'm going to explode if I don't. Now, I'm going to start with the positives about this movie. For one, just like in the first one, it looked fantastic. There was really nothing to complain about effects wise, and literally it's the most beautiful movie I've seen visually. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just absolutely stunning, and it made the 3 hours and what felt like 12 hours of a movie kind of worth it because it really is that stunningly beautiful. Another good thing about it was the acting. The acting was very, very, very good, other than one character who I'm not going to mention. You will know what character I'm talking about if you have seen the movie or if you are going to see the movie. But that character is just not good. And I don't really think it's the acting of that character, just the writing was bad, and it was just a cringy, uncomfortable, unneeded presence in the movie, speaking about this character. And not that the acting was necessarily bad, the writing for the character was bad, and it was just a weird character in general. But other than that, the acting was phenomenal, which is kind of shocking considering most of this cast is kids. And not that kids can't be great actors, but they're normally not in something this serious, unless it's for like comedic relief. But to see a group of kids act in a movie that is this serious and pull it off very, very well is very impressive. And I mean, the acting all around was just very good. The person who stole the show, I'm horrible with names. I know her first name is Zoe. It's Zoe Saladani. I should have looked Saladana or something like that. I should have looked it up because I'm horrible with names. But she plays Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy, and she plays Jake Sully's wife in this movie, and I can't remember the name of the character either, but her acting was absolutely phenomenal. Stole the show, really, and she really didn't have too much dialogue as compared to the first movie, but her acting was absolutely incredible. And there were some scenes that were very, very good and very, very incredible. And once again, you just get like lost in that world, and Pandora is such a unique world, and with that uniqueness, it's just very upsetting that the movie turned out the way it did. And now I'm going to get into the negatives about it. So it's not that the movie is necessarily a bad story, it's just the plot as a whole is built on a load of bullcrap, and I'm just putting it plainly as I can. It doesn't really make sense how some characters exist and why some characters exist, if that makes sense. If you've seen the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. The beginning was very quick, explaining, what has happened since the last movie ended, which is good because the movie was 3 hours long. We didn't need another 45 minutes of them talking about everything. But my main problem with all of that is the villain. The villain in this movie, and it makes me mad. I don't understand why this person my main problem with how the beginning was just with the villain, who I'm not going to try to say too much because if I do, I'll end up spoiling it because I just did and I spoiled it, and I'm going to have to edit all that stuff out. But it's just true. It just seemed, I just don't think this person should have been the villain. There was no need for this person to have a story continued. That's where I'll leave it. And maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe a lot of people liked it. There were also a few holes in the plot, some unnecessary scenes, and really there were just some things in this movie that were unnecessary. The whole movie, I think the runtime ended up being 3 hours 12 minutes, and it probably could have been around 2 hours 15 minutes. And that's not really an upsetting thing because visually speaking, this movie is the most beautiful movie I've ever seen. I mean, honestly, you can get lost so easily in what you're looking at and literally feel like you are there. And I didn't even see the movie in 3D. I saw it in 2D, and it looked that incredible. So visually pleasing. It's honestly kind of like bone chilling how good the movie looked. It really did look incredible, but you can't just let the effects carry the movie so much and just ignore the problems that it had. I mean, originality should have been a 10 out of 10, because Pandora is this world that has a species that hunts other created species that have created ways of living and ways of life, and they use their ponytails to connect to people. Like, that's super original. We've never seen that before. But if you're looking at the story, it's not, because for one, the finale looked a lot like another James Cameron movie. Like, the plot of the story was pretty much the same plot as the first one, except, Jake has kids now. I don't see how people can deny that the plots aren't very, very similar. Except this time, it takes place in a water village instead of a forest village, which I like the water village better. It looked incredible, but I don't know. Because where the story ended after the first one, you are wide open to do whatever you want to do, because the main bad guy died. Jake was starting his family, and the Sky People were gone from Pandora, and you could have made whatever type of conflict you wanted to, and you basically do the same one. And it was just hard to enjoy the movie because of how dragged on it felt. Like, and I'm a guy, if a movie is 3 hours long, I'm totally okay with that if it's good for 3 hours. This movie was not good for 3 hours. And it's bad because it could have been, like I said, 2 hours 15 minutes, maybe 2 hours 30 minutes. So many things happened that were not necessary that could have easily brought the movie back down, and the finale specifically was just dragged on so long, and it got to the point to where I was ready to leave, and it's with how great the movie looked, you would think I could just sit in there forever and watch, but the story was just so unappealing towards the end, and there was really one specific decision made by a character that I hated. The only character that there were two characters I hated, but there was one character I hated that you're not supposed to hate, who made the stupidest decision I've ever seen in a movie in my life. And I know they're setting up for a third and a fourth movie, but once again, I just feel like the third and the fourth movie is going to be more of the same thing because of this decision that he made, and doesn't make me excited for the future of the Avatar world at all. Like, it makes me mad. That's really all I can say about it. It's just, the finale wasn't good, the ending wasn't pleasing, there was an unnecessary, bad, horrible thing that happened that, once again, you didn't need, because why throw that in there? I'll use another movie for example, Rogue One. Everyone dies at the end of Rogue One. Sorry if that spoils it for you. They had to die, right? There was no way they were going to escape the Death Star blowing up the planet, but they did it for a reason, right? And we've seen it twice now in the Avatar world where a character dies that didn't need to. And in the same way, by thinking they got out of a tough situation with gunfire and then realizing, oh, I got shot. Same thing happened again. And the movie just felt repetitive for reasons like that. And an unnecessary death. Like, no need for that death to happen, and it did. And I'm not a guy who hates when a character dies in a movie because, like I said, sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it has to happen. I tried not to get too specific with this movie because I know it's still opening weekend, or I guess when this video comes out it'll be right after opening weekend, so I'm sure there's a good amount of people who haven't seen the movie that want to. My consensus is, if you're like me and you've been around this nerd culture your entire life and you have to go see this movie now, it's worth the money, I would say, because just based on the effects, it's worth seeing it in a theater. If you're not one of these people caught up in this nerd culture and you want to see the movie still, I would say wait for it to come out on Disney Plus if you have it. Save your money. And you know, and it's not a knock on James Cameron. The man's resume speaks for itself. He literally directed my favorite movie of all time, and the first Avatar is still the highest grossing movie of all time. Like, the resume of James Cameron speaks for itself, but when I come down to what I'm blaming for this movie not living up to the standard I had set for it, and really just, it was really just stupid decisions made by the writer and director James Cameron. The acting, like I mentioned, was phenomenal, but some characters that didn't need to exist or no longer needed to exist were there. And the way the explanation was given to us was very stupid and very dumb, and that's the only way I can describe it. You have this whole original world that you created, and congratulations on creating something so beautiful and so visually appealing, but the movie was still lackluster because of the story and the plot that you put there. And there were some emotional moments. I almost teared up at one point. But I don't know. I'm just walking out of the theater and I'm not happy. It sucks too because the middle of the movie was awesome. Like, I wasn't really bored there. There were a lot of awesome scenes, and it was building up to what seemed to be like an epic finale. But the beginning, when they explained how the bad guy was there, and the finale were just so bad that it made everything that was beautiful in the middle not important anymore, and it sucked. It put this in the peach crisp scale, and I'm not going to go through everything in it until my score was for each individual thing, because that's not my show. But my score was a 59 out of 100. So let's just round that to a 60 and divide that down to a 6 out of 10 of a movie. Not a bad movie. And I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm saying for what it could have been, it's disappointing, because this movie could have so easily been at least a 9 out of 10. Like, it could have been incredible, and it's just disappointing. I mean, I'm just really disappointed in this movie. I would love to get specific about it. Maybe I'll do a second video where I talk about specific things that really upset me in this movie, so like people who have seen it can know what I'm talking about. I don't think it's better than the first one. In terms of effects, it's definitely better than the first one. It looks so good. I don't know. And let me know what you thought about the new Avatar. If you agree with me or if you disagree with me, let me know. Let me know why.